Today we'll begin with page 181. Who's going to begin reading?
Vasistha continued. Consciousness free from the limitations of the mind is known as the inner intelligence. It is the essential nature of no mind, and therefore it is not tainted by the impurities of concepts and percepts. That is the reality. That is supreme auspiciousness. That is the state known as the supreme self. That is omniscience, and that vision is not had when the wicked mind functions. Where there is mind, there flourishes hopes and desires, and there arise the experiences of pain and pleasure. The consciousness which has been awakened to the truth does not fall into concepts and percepts. Therefore, even though it seems to undergo various psychological experiences, it does not give rise to the world illusion and the cycle of world appearance.
Okay. So let's look at the first sentence. Yeah, this is a really loaded paragraph. Consciousness free from the limitations of the mind. Can be put in this equation? Consciousness minus mind. Yeah, in bracket I've just written limitations. Yeah, but the equation is consciousness minus mind. So consciousness free from the limitations of the mind is known as the inner intelligence. So consciousness minus mind is equal to inner intelligence. Got it? Easier to understand like this when you write it in an equation form. It is the essential nature of no mind. Yeah, means consciousness minus mind is equal to no mind, and therefore it is not tainted by the impurities of concepts and percepts. Yeah? A concept does not stick there. Oh, this should be like this only. This cannot be like this. These are concepts in the mind. Percepts are nothing but concepts. Yeah? That which is perceived, yeah, and forms an idea in my head is a percept. Very similar to concept. Yeah? So I have all these fixed ideas. This is the way it should be. This is the way it should not be. These stick because of the mind. The moment the mind is dropped, yeah, all you get is no mind or inner intelligence. If you look at the Sanskrit Shloka on the top, it's really beautiful. Chetanam chitta riktam. Yeah? Rikta means empty. Yeah? So chitta riktam is empty of the chitta. We've done chitta. Chitta is the mind. Yeah? And chetanam is the consciousness. So the first word chetanam is consciousness. Chitta riktam means when it is free of the mind. He then pratyak chetana muchyate. Then it is the intelligence, the inner intelligence. Muchyate is, it is called. It is called the inner intelligence or all-pervading intelligence. Nirmanas. Yeah, manas here is the mind. Nirmanas is devoid of the mind. Kasvabhavam. Becoming devoid of the mind is basically no mind. Yeah, that is one word for no mind. Nirmanaska kasvabhavam. Tanna tatra kala namalaha. Therefore, it is not tainted again by any idea. Your idea has been translated as concepts and percepts. Yeah. Very beautiful. That is the reality. That is supreme auspiciousness. Yeah, when your consciousness is free from all kinds of ideas of this should be like this and this should not be like this. This is right, this is wrong. I want this to be like this, I don't want this to be like this. These ideas in the mind, when they are dropped, when you are in that state of complete silence within, that is the reality. Got it? That is what they are calling supreme auspiciousness. That is the state known as the supreme self. That is omniscience. And that vision is not had when the wicked mind functions. Yeah, if the mind is going on and on and on and on, yeah, whatever, even if it is talking about good things, positive things, it is still going on. Yeah, you are still not in the self. So even in a Yoga Vasistha class, we are exchanging words. We are reading words, I am talking words, you are listening to words. Mind is still functioning. Yes? Supreme Self cannot be experienced while reading a scripture. Yeah? It is the silence that the scripture brings within you. Yeah? These words increase your sattva to that level where inside absolute silence happens. Yeah, maybe later on after the Yoga Vasistha class, you're just thinking about these things and for a moment you just go within and there's complete silence. Yes, that is the Supreme Self. Yes, that happens only when this chitter chatter of the mind shuts off. It doesn't matter whether it is negative or positive, it is still chitter chatter. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Where there is mind, there flourishes hopes and desires, and there arise the experiences of pain and pleasure. So even if in the mind there is this knowledge and you are repeating the knowledge to yourself, you have this desire to understand. Yeah? So you are still stuck at the mind level. Yeah? So the chitta riktam has not happened yet. You have to transcend this stage. That is why I repeat to you, by reading the scriptures you do not get enlightened. It's the silence that follows that knowledge. If that silence from within happens to you, yeah, that is the true experience of the self. Yeah. The consciousness which has been awakened to the truth does not fall into concepts and percepts. This means what? Once I reach that stage where I experience that inner silence, yeah, that inner silence is so deep, it's like such a strong magnetic pull for me that I will not get lost in concepts and percepts. A concept might come my way, yeah, but I will not get lost into the maya of all that. Otherwise you get lost in emotions and I want this and I don't want this, this should happen like this should not happen like this, and that entire drama happens. That will not happen to a person once he is established in this self. Yeah. Therefore, even though it seems to undergo various psychological experiences, it does not give rise to the world illusion and the cycle of world appearance. Means, even though such a person will have such things come his way because of his sanchita karma, yeah, he will still not get lost into that maya. The same thing that I explained, he will not get lost into that drama. Yeah? For a few moments things can come up and they will dissolve. Again they'll come up, after a few days again they'll dissolve. He'll be more established in the self. Yeah? That's the first paragraph. You can continue.
In the case of those who have been awakened through the study of scriptures, company of holy men, and unceasing and vigilant practice of truth, their consciousness has reached the pure state of non-objectiveness. Hence, one should forcefully uplift one's mind from the state of ignorance and vacillation and apply it to the study of scriptures and to the company of holy sages. The self alone is the sole aid for the realization of the Supreme Self or the infinite consciousness. It is one's own self that strives to abandon one's own sorrow, and for this the realization of one's own self by oneself is the only hope.
So he gives you here techniques what to do. Yeah? In the case of those who have been awakened through the study of scriptures, that's 1. Company of holy men is 2. And unceasing and vigilant practice of truth, that is 3. Their consciousness has reached the pure state of non-objectiveness. Yeah? I objectify, people, situations, things. All these are objects and I get lost in these objects. Either I want them or I don't want them. Either I like them or I hate them. Yeah? Either I'm jealous or I am competitive or I am greedy. Yeah? Whatever it is, I am lost in the objects. Yeah? Becoming free of these objects is a skill, and that can be attained through these 3: study of the scriptures, company of the holy men, and a vigilant practice of truth. What is vigilant practice of truth?
Sakshibha all the time.
Perfect. Perfect. Yes. It's like, see how you want something in life, how you become completely aggressive about achieving it. Yeah. How you like, no, I have to do this. I have to, come what may, this I can do. I need to get this. Don't you become aggressive about things, about certain objects? Yeah. Put that aggression into this, into spirituality. And you all have it. Yeah. Come what may, I have to do my Sakshi Bhav. Come what may, I have to withdraw from this Prakriti where I get lost so easily and come back to the center. Again and again I will get lost, I know. Again and again I come back. Again I'm going to get lost. Again I come back. This unceasing coming back to the center and then living in the center, from here witnessing everything, not getting lost in the emotions of raga and dvesha. Again and again coming back is a vigilant practice of the truth. Yeah. It has to be unceasing and vigilant practice of truth. Then what happens? You reach a pure state of consciousness. Yeah, that complete silence, and I'm sure all of you have experienced it in meditation. Yeah? Absolute silence, and that can be experienced in life with the eyes wide open while doing your daily routine work. Yeah? And that silence is something that will take you away from objectifying or getting lost in the objects of the world. Yeah? You reach a state of non-objectiveness. Clear? Hence, one should forcefully uplift one's mind from the state of ignorance, ignorance you understand, from this Maya, and vacillation, and apply it to the study of scriptures and to company of holy men. Vacillation, mind keeps going back and forth. Yeah, especially now that you're in knowledge, suddenly your mind says, oh, I should not be indulging in this, I should not get lost in this prakriti or in that object. Let me come to the center. You come to the center for a moment and again you are lost. Again you come back. Again, this is vacillation. Yeah. Earlier your vacillation was different only. It was from one prakriti to another prakriti. Yeah. Now at least a little bit of Sakshi Bhav has started happening. So the vacillation is from prakriti to Purusha and then Purusha back to prakriti. Incessant effort is required to drop this vacillation and be established here. Yeah. A constant striving on your part is important now. It's been a long, long time in knowledge. Yes. You cannot let your mind out loose anymore. Come what may, I have to constantly keep practicing this. Why? That he tells you in the next paragraph. Because the self alone is the sole aid for the realization of the Supreme Self or the infinite consciousness. You cannot find another way. You have to come back to the center, to the self, to the Purusha, to the Atma, to the consciousness, to the Brahman. The words don't matter. It is all one. Withdrawing from Prakriti and coming to the Purusha again and again is the only way. It is one's own self that strives to abandon one's own sorrow. And for this, the realization of one's own self by oneself is the only course. There is no other shortcut, guys. Yeah? Continuous practice of Sakshi Bhav, of witnessing. I'm not the doer, it is all happening. Yes, it is all flowing. You can't even figure out which way the flow is. The mind wants to even figure out, oh, is the flow this way or is the flow that way? This is also a seeking. He says drop that also. Yeah, the moment you decide, oh, the flow is this way, suddenly you'll see the flow go that way. And the moment you decide, okay, it is this way, no, again it will start going that way. Yeah? So drop this seeking of wanting to know which direction is the flow of life or of karma. Just go with the flow. Yeah? It will all happen. Yes? What has to happen anyway happens. Unnecessarily we struggle with the flow. Clear?
Then why is the self-effort?
The self-effort is to not struggle. Got it? That is the only self-effort. Not to struggle. My struggle is only because of my raga and dvesha, no? Because I want this, that is why I am struggling. Or I don't want this, that is why I am struggling. Dropping the raga and dvesha, that is the self-effort. Just going with the flow. Yeah? Just like swimming in a river. Yeah? Stop struggling. I want to go north. No, the river is going south. Just flow. Yes, dodge the big rocks that come your way. Yes, you will get that skill when you start flowing. First start flowing at least.
I still didn't get it totally, the happening thing.
Huh.
So it's not that so much raga dvesha thing.
Again, I'm telling you, the self-effort is in stopping the struggle. It's like you're struggling. He's saying, stop this. This struggle means you're pushing your hands up and down. When you push your hands up and down, you will go to the bottom of the river because you are increasing the weight of your body. Yeah? If there is a dead body in the river, do you know it does not go to the bottom of the river? A dead body just floats on the top. Do you know this? Why? Is that body different from this body? Then why am I going to the bottom because of my struggle, because of throwing my hands up and down? Have you ever thought about this? It is my fear, it is my struggle that makes me drown. Yeah? Let go, just float. Spread your arms out and embrace what is. Whatever comes, I am ready to be with it. Like a dead body. Then only will you float. Then only can you go with the flow. Yeah? The moment you start struggling with the water, you will go to the bottom. Try this in a swimming pool. Why don't you take this up as a homework? Yeah? Just float. Don't do anything. Spread your arms and legs out and see how you will float on top of the water. And start struggling immediately, you will go down. You will touch the bottom of the pool. Haven't you all experienced this? Yeah? It's exactly the same principle in life. You have to drop the struggle. The self-effort is in not doing. The self-effort is in dropping the struggle. Got it? That's the only self-effort. Let's read ahead.
Hence, O Rama, while yet remaining active in this world, talking, taking, and leaving, be without the mind and realize that you are pure consciousness. Abandon notions such as this is mine, that is me, this I am, and be established in the consciousness of undivided oneness. As long as the body lasts, consider the present and the future with an equanimous consciousness. Be forever established in the consciousness of the self in all states, manhood and old age, pleasure and pain, in the waking, dream, and sleep states. Abandon the impurity of objective perception, hopes, and desires. Remain established in the self-knowledge. Give up notions of auspicious and inauspicious happenings. Give up visions of the desirable and undesirable. Know that you are the essence of consciousness. Realize that subject, object, and actions do not touch you. Remain as pure consciousness without any disturbance in it. Know I am the all and live in the consciousness and live in the waking state as if in deep sleep. Be free from conditions known as duality and non-duality and remain in a state of equilibrium, which is a state of pure consciousness and freedom. Realize that this cosmic consciousness is indivisible into I and the other, and thus remain firm and unshakable.
Very beautiful. Very beautiful paragraph. Let's look at it again. Hence, O Rama, while yet remaining active in this world, talking, taking and leaving, etc., be without the mind and realize that you are pure consciousness. How do I do this? Whenever, whatever activity you are doing, whether it is A simple activity just like cleaning the house, yeah, or driving the car, or at work. Yeah. Recognize it is this body-mind complex doing that particular action. I am separate from this body-mind complex. Yes, I am pure consciousness. You have to make that effort of taking one step back. Our problem is that we get totally lost in that action. Yeah? That is why so many times you're driving, you're lost in your thoughts, and you don't even realize that you're going above the speed limit, and suddenly you have to brake when the light turns red, and then you realize, oh, I was going too fast. Doesn't that happen? Because I got lost in that activity of driving or thinking while I'm driving, because that's what I do normally. Yeah? Taking one step back and observing, oh, the hands are on the steering, yeah, and the mind is getting lost in this thought and again in that thought. And just because now I'm looking at the mind, now it's come back to driving. Yeah? Observing this entire drama. When you can separate yourself and look at everything moment to moment to moment, then you are the pure consciousness. Yeah? Otherwise, you are lost in the mind. Yeah? Abandon notions such as this is mine, this is he, and this I am, and be established in the consciousness of undivided oneness. Again, he's talking here again about the Dvaitam that comes in the mind, the duality. This duality is the cause of ego, is the cause of I and you. Yeah, it is all one undivided consciousness really. Just like all the balloons are nothing but air. But one balloon thinks I am red and big, and the other balloon thinks, oh, I'm green and I'm tiny. Yeah? These are just external Prakriti factors, which is not important. The importance is inside both are air. Yeah? So drop this is he, this is I. Yeah? Drop this duality. As long as the body lasts, consider the present and the future with an equanimous consciousness. Yeah, the mind gets lost in thinking, oh, I have to do this about tomorrow, I have to do that about tomorrow, what will happen tomorrow. Again and again bringing the mind to the present, because you have no idea whether you will really live to see tomorrow morning or not. So that equanimity needs to be a practice that you have to inculcate. Yeah? Your mind is into a habit of worrying about the future or running into future. Yes? It's actually the third point he is telling you here. Something that you have to inculcate. Bring an equanimity between your present and your future. Yes, again and again in the now. Be forever established in the consciousness of the self in all states, youth, manhood, and old age, pleasure and pain, in the waking, dream, and sleep states. Yeah? This we've talked about in Ashtavakra also. Yeah? The first step is when in every activity I separate myself out. And I just observe this body-mind complex doing the job. And I recognizing that I am the Purusha, not this body-mind complex. So when I can see this happening during driving, during my office work, during the housework, while reading the Yoga Vasistha, Right now, can you just separate yourself out and see how your eyes are on the book or eyes are on the computer? Take one step behind and just observe your own body, the posture it is sitting, the thoughts that are crossing your mind, the way you are either nodding or looking. See how your eyes are blinking, and take one step back and observe the chitter chatter of the mind, if any, or the silence of the mind. Yeah? Like this, in every activity of the waking state, if I can separate myself, even when I sleep in the night, yeah, going to sleep with this continuous activity of separating myself and observing, and I go to sleep like that, yeah, you will observe that you will notice how many times you actually turned right or left in your sleep. Yeah, you will watch yourself turn. You will watch yourself sleeping. Yeah? When you wake up, you will actually watch yourself wake up. Because the consciousness or the Purusha is not sleeping really. Yeah? Did you ever think like that? Yeah? You never really sleep. It is just this piece of Prakriti that needs its rest in the night. The engine cannot be on all day. Yeah? This engine goes to sleep. Yeah? Even your mind does not sleep really. When you will be conscious and you will keep observing this body turning right and left, you will also observe, oh, so much chitter chatter in the mind, even in the night. So many dreams. Yeah? And then after some time you will also observe some complete silence, the deep sleep state where the mind is also absolutely shut off. Yeah? Then you are actually awake. Yeah? You are awake in your deep sleep state. And this is the state that yogis are in. They are in this world. They are doing everything. Yeah? Seemingly, outwardly, they seem like any other normal individual. But they are in a deep sleep state. Means what? Everything is happening through this piece of Prakriti, this body-mind complex. That Purusha is completely separate and just witnessing what is happening. Like this, you can be in a state of pain or in state of pleasure. Yeah, you can go through all those surprises, surprise party and happiness and whatever fun of Diwali and Christmas, and still be absolutely in that witnessing deep sleep state, just observing everything happening. It's not that you are not participating. The piece of Prakriti called body-mind complex is completely participating. But you are established in the self. You're just a witness. Exactly the same thing happens in pain. The pain is only happening to this piece of Prakriti body-mind complex. Yeah? You are one step behind, just observing the pain. Yeah? You are all young today. Few years down the line, as the piece of Prakriti gets older, you will start experiencing the pain of the body. Yeah? Learning to separate yourself out and just looking at it as if it is a drama on stage, yeah, will help you go through that difficult phase very easily. Yeah? So that's what he's saying here. In all three states being like that, waking, dreaming and sleep state, in complete witness consciousness. Yeah? Sakshi Bhav. Abandon the impurity of objective perception. Again, objective perception, a person, or this is a thing, or this is a situation. Hopes and desires. I want this. Oh, wish this happens. oh, maybe this will happen. Abandon all this, he says. You just remain established in self-knowledge. Yeah, so he's given you 5 things till here. I hope you're making your points. First he said, separate yourself out in every activity and recognize you are pure consciousness. Second he said, drop duality of I and you. Yeah, you are one, undivided oneness, he said. Third he says, present and future, bring an equanimous state between the two. Yeah. Fourth he said, always be established in the self, whatever it is, in youth, manhood, old age, whether it's pain or pleasure or waking, dream and sleep state. And the fifth is, abandon the impurity of objective perception, yeah, or hopes and desires. Yeah? Just remain established in the self, self-knowledge. Now number 6, give up notions of auspicious and inauspicious happenings. Give up visions of the desirable and undesirable. Know that you are the essence of consciousness. Drop this thing completely. Oh, this is good for me. This should happen. I want this. Completely drop this. It doesn't matter. What is. It's okay. I am fine with what is. Yeah? That is the meaning of that in short. Whatever is, it's okay. Realize that subject, object and actions do not touch you, and live in the waking state as if in deep sleep. Yeah? So, how will that happen? Only if I have separated myself from the object. Yeah, I am established in the self, in the Purusha. Yeah? Then I am as if in the deep sleep state. I am observing everything happening. Yeah, there is a constant state of joy, a constant state of awareness. That is the being in the deep sleep state even when you are awake and in actions. Be freed from conditions known as duality and non-duality even. Yeah? And remain in a state of equilibrium, which is a state of pure consciousness and freedom. The moment I say, oh, I have to drop I and you, there is a conflict in my mind. Oh, now I am thinking, oh, there is you, there is I, you. I have to drop I and you also. But even dropping this I and you is creating a bondage in my mind now. Oh, I'm not, it's been such a long time, I've not been able to drop this duality. I'm still stuck here. I'm still not so good. Yeah, this not so good feeling is again a bondage. Yeah, he's saying drop that even. Yeah? Like Guruji says, no, knowledge is like soap. You pick up the soap, you wash away the dirt, but then you have to wash away that soap even. Got it? So to wash away duality, I brought in non-duality. I brought in oneness. But I cannot hang on to that oneness, because now that will be the cause for my bondage. I have to drop that even. Yeah? Just be with nothingness. Yeah? Somebody asked me this question. You keep saying everything is changing, everything is changing, everything is changing. I'm feeling very insecure. My mind wants to hold on to something. How can everything be changing? I have to hold on to something. What do I hold on to? I said, exactly what you're feeling right now, that restlessness, be with that restlessness. Don't try to hold on to something. Yeah, this wanting to hold on to something in life becomes the cause of your bondage. Go through this restlessness, let it burn you. Yeah, everything is changing, nothing is permanent. My God, when that wanting security, dying to hold on to something, that drops off, yeah, then it's like your arms are open. Okay, what is. Yeah, but before you reach that stage of what is, you will go through this burning stage. Yeah, and that can last quite some time. Be ready to go through that burning, through that restlessness, because the mind wants, even a little straw will do. It just wants to hold on to something. Yeah, and that lady recognized it right in the beginning of Ashtavakra. Huh? So kudos to her. Have you realized this, that your mind is looking for a security again and again? Yeah, especially on the path of knowledge, what happens? People drop all these people, situations, things, hold on to Yoga Vasistha, Ashtavakra. I say, oh, drop that also. Oh no, that is something I cannot drop. Oh, you have to drop that even. Yeah, the last and the difficult part will be, you have to drop this craving and holding on to Guruji also. Yeah, where you are just ready to stand alone. Yeah, just stand alone in that nothingness, in that total darkness. Yeah, in complete surrender, when your arms wide open, yes, I am ready to face what is. And just being that, with that what is, that state is true freedom, complete freedom. Yeah, that is worth achieving. Unless you get there, don't stop. Don't let this restlessness or this burning stop you midway. No ways. Yeah. Go through it and you will come out shining like gold. Yeah. Realize that this cosmic consciousness is indivisible into I and the other, and thus remain firm and unshakable. Yeah. Very beautiful page, no? Who wants to read the next page?
I can read. Vasistha continued, cut off all the fetters of desire and hope, solely with the intelligence that is unlimited and endowed with patience and perseverance, and go beyond dharma and adharma. When one is firmly rooted in self-knowledge, even the worst of poisons turn into immortalizing nectar. It is only when this self-knowledge is overpowered by ignorance that the delusion of world appearance arises in the mind. But when one is firmly established in self-knowledge, which is infinite, unlimited, and unconditioned, the delusion or ignorance that gave rise to world appearance come to an end. When the light of your wisdom will radiate in the four directions throughout the world, to one who thus drinks the nectar of immortality in the shape of self-knowledge, the delights of self-pleasures become painful. He resorts to the company of only those knowledge. The others are donkeys in human garb. Even as elephants, even as elephants move with long strides, the sages who have reached the higher states of consciousness rise to the highest state of consciousness. They have no external help at all, and no sun illumines their path. Self-knowledge alone is their light. In fact, the sun and the worlds became non-objects of perception to they who have gone beyond the realm of objective perception and knowledge. Even as lamps lose their luminosity while the midday sun shines.
Yeah, so he continues to give you instructions on what to do on this page. Cut off all the fetters of desire and hope. Yeah, I want this, or hope this happens, may this happen, wish this happen. Cut it off, he says. How? With intelligence, yeah? With patience and perseverance. Yeah? What is perseverance? Mind will again and again say, no, I want this. Again, cut it off, drop. Again the mind will say, I want this. Again, drop. Yeah? Like a little kid keeps on telling mommy, mommy, no, I want that teddy bear, I want that teddy bear, I want that teddy bear. And you remain firm. No, you have enough toys. Yeah? How you are firm with the child and you kindly cajole the child. Exactly like that. You need patience, you need perseverance and intelligence to do it. Yeah? So this desiring, hoping, he's just saying the same thing that he was saying around 10-15 pages back. Seeking. You remember the word seeking? It's exactly the same thing again. Drop this seeking, drop this desire, drop this hope. Go beyond dharma and adharma even. Yeah, he just explained to us you have to drop duality and non-duality also now. Yeah, so dharma is righteousness. Oh, this is right. It should happen like this only. Yeah, this is also a hope, he says. This is adharma. It should not happen like this. Drop that also, he says. Yeah? Dropping both dharma and adharma. When one is firmly rooted in self-knowledge, even the worst of poisons turn into immortalizing nectar. Nectar is amrit. Yeah? So even wish, which is poison, will become amrit, which is nectar. It is only when this self-knowledge is overpowered by ignorance that the delusion of world appearance arises in the mind. So, right in the beginning of creation, what happened? This Maya or this ignorance was so strong, it took over intelligence. It took over the self and ego came up and the first I arose. Yeah? So what happened? The self-knowledge was overpowered by Maya. And that's how the delusion of this world appearance arose in the first place. I am earth, I am water, I am fire. Yeah? All this I came up. And that's how the world appearance came up. What?
Yeah, not the dharma also.
Yes. But when one is firmly established in self-knowledge, which is infinite, unlimited and unconditioned, the delusion or ignorance that gave rise to the world appearance comes to an end. So how will this Maya come to an end? He says, through self-knowledge only. And self-knowledge is how he describes it. It is infinite, it is unlimited and unconditioned. Yeah? You cannot say, oh, Ashtavakra says this, so I will understand it like this and get a perverted meaning out of it. I'll explain it to you. What is the meaning of unconditioned knowledge? A young student read one of the blogs, I think, in which I'm talking about be spontaneous. So there is a lot of be spontaneous blogs, a lot of on that. So that person has probably not done all of Ashtavakra, but a student in one of the universities here. So he wrote to me, I read so much of be spontaneous, I decided I will not study for the exam and just go and be spontaneous. He said the results were not good. Yeah, perverted use of the knowledge. Yeah. Now do you understand? Unconditioned self-knowledge. Not what you want to understand out of it. Yeah, but what it really means. Yeah. Got it? That is the meaning of unconditioned. Yeah. Plus it is unlimited. Unlimited means what? Yeah. You cannot say, oh, okay, just this much I'm going to study and it's enough. Yeah, I'm just going to pick up Ashtavakra Gita and this is it. No, you have to do Karma Yoga, you have to do Jnana Yoga, you have to do Bhakti Yoga. Do all the scriptures. You don't know which one is going to ring that bell within. Yeah, so it's unlimited. You cannot say, I am only going to do this. You do not know what is your path. It is just like falling in love. Yeah. Did you know you're going to fall in love with only this one person? No. That click just happens from within, no? That click has to happen. Yeah? So you cannot limit the knowledge. It is unlimited. Yeah? You just dissolve, dive into the knowledge. Yeah? Unlimited knowledge, unconditioned knowledge. Remember that. No conditioning. My own mental conditioning, my own understanding of spontaneity. Yeah. And what is the third? Infinite. Yeah, infinite and unlimited is the same. Yeah, so that is how self-knowledge is, and you become firmly established in it. Then the delusion that gave rise, the Maya that gave rise to that first I, that will drop off. That's all that has to drop off. The paddy is already there inside, just the husk has to drop off. Yeah? You don't have to discover the Purusha, you are the Purusha. You are just covered by clouds of Maya. The clouds have to drop off or just go away. Once the sky is completely clear, yeah, you already see that you are the pure consciousness. Then the light of your wisdom will radiate in the four directions throughout the world. North, south, east, west. Four directions. Huh? To one who thus drinks the nectar of immortality in the shape of self-knowledge, the delights of sense pleasures become painful. This we've talked about at length, no? That anything that gives me pleasure, after a while, beyond a point, that same thing can turn into pain. Yeah? Even if it is one single gulab jamun. Yeah? I pick up that gulab jamun, I love it, I eat it. Now the mind wants one more, and then you take one more, and then you take one more. And what happens after some time? The same pleasure turns into next morning's pain. Yeah. So every pleasure comes with a tax. There is no pleasure that will not have a tax. Yeah. And the tax is pain. Every pleasure, take anything, anything, watching TV, doing time pass on Facebook, anything, getting the best car in the world, yeah, buying that multi-million-dollar house, then you are worrying about the maintenance, you're worrying about the property taxes, you're worrying about this expense and that expense. Are you seeing this? Every pleasure will come with a tax. So one who is wise sees this. He can very clearly see that all the delights of the sense pleasures become painful. Yeah? We resort to the company of only those who have attained self-knowledge. The others are donkeys in human garb. Narada also told you, from all sides shun bad company, he said. Remember? Dussangaha sarvataiva tyajaha. Yeah? Drop bad company. Yeah? Just be with who? With those people who have attained self-knowledge. The others are donkeys, he says. Even as elephants move with long strides, the sages who have reached the higher states of consciousness rise to the highest states of consciousness. Yeah? So there are levels, there are stages of consciousness. Yeah? You can go higher than what you think is completely pure. Yes, but you have to reach that completely pure state first, and then you will go to a higher state. Yes, and we will discuss these more. The only state of pure state of consciousness that we've discussed so far is the Turiya state. You remember that? Yeah, the fourth state. There are states of consciousness which are higher than them also. Yeah? So, sages who very intensely practice can rise to higher states of consciousness. They have no external help. Like I told you, having the guts to walk in that nothingness, having the guts to walk in that darkness of uncertainty, not knowing what is going to happen, yeah? Not having something to hold on to. Just walking with your arms outstretched, come what may, I will be with what is. Yeah? That is the meaning of no external help at all. And no sun illumines their path. Yeah? Self-knowledge alone is their light. In fact, the sun and the worlds become non-objects of perception to they who have gone beyond the realm of objective perception and knowledge. Just like lamps lose their luminosity within the midday sunshines. Once you start walking that path where you are not holding on to something, you are not holding on to an external person or an external thing like a house or a car or whatever, or an external situation, where you are just arms wide open walking, into the dark. I am ready to take what uncertainty comes my way. Yes? Then you have actually stepped onto the path of self-knowledge. And what really illumines your path is the self-knowledge itself. Yeah? Not this external people, situations and things. The sun also is just an external thing, no? Yeah? On that internal path, only your self-knowledge will illumine the path for you. Self-knowledge alone is their light. In fact, the sun and the worlds become non-objects of perception to they who have gone beyond the realm of objective perception and knowledge. Just like lamps lose their luminosity while the midday sun shines. Yeah. This is so beautiful. Can we read ahead?
The sage of self-knowledge, the knower of truth is supreme amongst those who are radiant, glorious, strong, great, and endowed with other characteristics which are considered marks of excellence. These sages shine in the world like the sun, the fire, the moon, and the stars put together. On the other hand, they who have not attained self-knowledge are worse than worms and insects.
Yeah, so here they are just praising somebody who is on the path of self-knowledge is like the sun, the moon, the stars, all those beautiful things. And a person who's not on the path of self-knowledge is compared to worms. Yeah, you can continue.
The ghost of delusion afflicts one, one, one only as long as self-knowledge does not arise in him. The ignorant man is forever sorrowful, though he roams everywhere to get rid of it. He is truly a walking corpse. Only the sage of self-knowledge is a living, sentient being. Even as when dense clouds form in the sky, the sun's light is veiled. When the mind becomes gross with the impurities and ignorance, the light of self-knowledge is veiled. Therefore, the one should abandon craving for pleasures, those that have been experienced in the past and others that have not yet been experienced but for which one craves, and thus gradually weaken the mind by the abandonment of a taste for them. By the cultivation of a false relationship with what is not self, the body and those related to it, such as wife, son, family, and etc., the mind becomes gross. The notions of I and mine make the mind dense and ignorant. That is further aggravated by the old age, sorrow, ambitions, psychological distress, efforts to acquire and to abandon attachments, greed, lust for wealth and sex, and by the enjoyment of sense pleasures, all of which are based on ignorance and delusions.
Okay. So the ghost of delusion afflicts one only as long as self-knowledge does not arise in him. Yeah? Only till the time you start walking on the path of self-knowledge, till that time you are actually lost in the Maya. The Maya will stop affecting you once you have established in self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is not reading the scripture. Self-knowledge from within. Yeah? When you get established in the self through meditation or through scriptures or just through company of the holy men. Yeah? When from within that swa jnana or swadharma comes out. That is self-knowledge. Huh? When that starts happening from within, then Maya stops affecting you. People, situations and things will still exist. They are not going to go anywhere. Yeah? But they don't affect me the way they used to affect me earlier. Yeah? I have become stronger because of the self-knowledge. That is what you will notice. The ignorant man is forever sorrowful. One who's lost in Maya is always sorrowful. Yeah? Remember here, pleasure is also sorrow because pleasure is followed by the tail of pain. Yeah? So here sorrowful means he's either lost in the pleasures of the world in acquiring or achieving something, or he is running away from the pain of the world. Yeah? Both are sorrow. Though he roams everywhere to get rid of it, he really tries hard to get rid of it, but he cannot. He is truly a walking corpse. Only the sage of self-knowledge is a living sentient being. Yeah? So only when you have self-knowledge are you called as a living being. Till the time you are lost in Maya, you are being addressed as a living or a walking corpse by Vasistha. Yeah? Even as when dense clouds form in the sky, the sun's light is veiled. When the mind becomes gross with impurities and ignorance, the light of self-knowledge is veiled. It's like self-knowledge is just hidden behind the clouds of Maya. These clouds of Maya just go away and self-knowledge is already there. Yeah? It doesn't have to be manufactured by you. It is already inside. Yeah? There's just a very dark curtain of Maya, of clouds, of people, situations, things, desires, hopes, all clouding up the vision. The moment these clouds drop, self-knowledge is unveiled. Therefore, one should abandon craving for pleasures. Which pleasures? One, that have been experienced in the past. And two, that have not yet been experienced but you are craving for. Yeah? The second one comes by looking at other people's pleasures. Oh, he has that house, or she has that car, or that person has that name, fame, or that person has that label or that degree. I want that. This second one, which I'm craving for, comes by looking at other people's situations and things that I have not yet experienced. And the first one comes from my own past. I have experienced pleasure having that particular ice cream. Now I want that only ice cream. No other ice cream will do. You see this? That's how I'm holding on to the past. So understand these two different types distinctly. Yeah? One should abandon these cravings. And then gradually weaken the mind by the abandonment of a taste for them. So homework number 1 for you. Make a list of both of these types. One, a craving that you have because of an experience from the past. Going to a particular party, playing a particular game, winning a lottery, whatever happened in the past, and now I'm holding on to that experience. No, I experienced this on my last India trip. Again, this India trip also will be like this. But then it doesn't turn out to be like this. Right? I just gave you a few experiences of the past. The second is something that I'm craving for. I have not experienced it, but I want what she has, or I want what he has. Yeah, you got the two separate ones. Make a complete list this week. Yeah, and start working on dropping them, letting them go. He says abandon them completely. Yeah? Drop this craving. It's okay if I don't fulfill this particular craving. It's okay. I'm not going to die if I don't get that $1 billion house. I'm not going to die if I don't own a Tesla in my life, or whatever, Rolls Royce, Mercedes, whatever it is. Yeah? I'm not going to die without that particular thing. Yes. By the cultivation of a false relationship with what is not self, that means the body and those related to the body, the mind becomes gross. Yeah? So the mind is gross right now because it has developed a false relationship with wife, husband, child, mother, father, friend. Yeah, this mind has forgotten that in previous lifetime I had another father, another mother, another wife, another husband, another child. And maybe after this, in the next lifetime, I'll have another mother, another father, another husband or wife, another child. Yeah, it has forgotten this continuity of time. It has broken it into pieces which really does not exist. And that is only because of this gross body. Drop this. Recognize this. Understand that I have become gross. And it's only because of attachments of this piece of Prakriti. Drop the attachments. The notions of I and mine make the mind dense and ignorant. This is further aggravated by old age, sorrow, ambitions, psychological distress, efforts to acquire and to abandon, attachments, greed, lust for wealth, lust for sex, and by the enjoyment of sense pleasures, all of which are based on ignorance and delusion. So when you make that list, you will be able to connect everything from that list with something or the other here. Either it is an ambition, or it is some sorrow, or it is some psychological distress, or there is an effort to acquire it, or there is an effort to run away from it. There is some attachment with it. There is some greed with it. Lusting for wealth, for sex, or any of the other sense pleasures. What does he tell you? Abandon it. Drop. All these notions of I and mine are of this body. I am not this body. I am not this mind. I'll let you read the next page as homework. It's a very beautiful page. It's a repetition of mostly what we have done. But it has this beautiful diagram as an explanation also. It says what? There is a field, and the field is this body. The mind is a tree that grows on this field of body. The branches of this tree are hope and longing. Hope and longing are nothing but forms of I want, I want, I want. Yes, the leaves are perversions or perversity. What is a perversity? A desire in the mind which is unreasonable. But I want it, I want it, I want it. No, come what may, I want it. Have you noticed your mind is like that? It behaves in an unreasonable and an unacceptable manner. It just wants that only. That is perversity. All the leaves on this tree are just that. Because it is coming out of the branch of hope and longing. So Vasistha tells you, pick up this axe of self-inquiry. Who am I? Who am I? Am I this mind? No, I am not. And cut this tree down. The moment this mind drops off, you will reach the state of no mind. And that is, in a nutshell, what the next page is about. So this week, do your homework and move from mind to no mind. Yes? Everybody? Any questions? No? All set? Okay. I'll see you next week. Yeah. Remember to read page 183 as homework. We will begin with page 184. Okay? Chalo. Jai Gurudev.